Hi guys, it's Gianna. Today we're going to go through an acronym that spells out Periaqueductal Grey. And it's going to be very simple to understand because each letter is going to represent one main idea. So P stands for pain, and this is the main function of the Periaqueductal Grey. The propagation and modulation of pain an individual may experience. E is extreme. Both suppression and facilitation of pain via these pathways are major components of long-lasting chronic pain an individual may possess. R is risk assessment. PAG participates in risk assessment and responds to threatening situation and aids in our defensive behaviors. At the same time, it regulates our heart rate and blood pressure. I is involvement. These pathways give rise to a learned aversive behavior, and it involves four things. So first we have our sympathetic response, our motor response, our emotional reaction to the stimuli, and our elevated levels of awareness. A, autonomic excitability. This contributes to our defensive behaviors and also contributes to disease states that are affected by the activation. This could be anxiety and panic disorders. Q, quickly suppress our pain. How? Neurons from the PAG go to the medulla to the raft nuclei, and then the neurons from the raft nuclei go down to the dorsal horn in the spinal cord. Once they get there, it kind of blocks the sensation of pain that we're experiencing, and therefore those receptors aren't going up to the brain and telling us we're in pain. And it's all natural, so it's really nice that our body and our brain regulates that for us. U is unique anatomy. The gray part is going to be surrounding the cerebral aqueduct, and that's where it gets its name, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. I just wanted you guys to see it on paper. E, it extends. The PAG extends from the posterior commissure down to the level of the locus coeruleus. Delineated by columns. We have the dorsal, the dorsolateral, and the ventrolateral PAG. The ventrolateral is going to be responsible for our long-term responses. The dorsal and the lateral are going to be responsible for our fight or flight response. And then the dorsolateral is going to be more of your fear that you feel. Unique facts. If the periaqueductal gray was stimulated before surgery, that patient would need less anesthesia because the periaqueductal gray is so efficient at blocking pain. So that was really interesting. And then I included, it's both ascending and descending, which is important to remember. We are going to go over two main descending pathways that I learned about. And then I included the nicknames. PAG is an acronym, and midbrain and central gray is another word to call it. And then lastly, I wanted to talk about how there are a lot of opiate receptors in the PAG, and it is believed that that is related to how opiates are able to relieve our pain. C, central gray and midbrain, we just kind of mentioned this. This is a nickname, and I want you to remember it is the gray area, it's in the midbrain, it's in the central. Helps remember the anatomy. T is going to stand for two major descending pathways. We have the rostral, ventral, medial, medulla, and that's going to be propagated by serotonin. And then we have the locus coeruleus, and that's going to be propagated by norepinephrine. A, assigning the name, that's really easy because if you can remember the anatomy, like I told you, it surrounds the cerebral aqueduct, and it's the gray matter. So, periaqueductal gray, that's how I got the name. And then lastly, I just want to include how long it is and kind of so you could think about it in real life perspective. So the length, it stems from the brainstem about 14 millimeters long.